Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Aaron Heinz, and on behalf of the entire AOP Tech team, we thank you for spending part of your Wednesday evening here with us. We will start tonight's webinar as we do all good things in prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. May God the Father who made us bless us. May God the Son send his healing among us. May God the Holy Spirit move within us and give us eyes to see with, and ears to hear with, and hands to do your work with. May we walk and preach the word of God to all. May the angel of peace watch over us and lead us at last by God's grace to the holy kingdom. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. During tonight's webinar, please feel free to use the chat window to drop in any comments or questions. Annabelle and I are both working behind the scenes tonight and will be here to answer any of your questions. This evening, we are joined by two fabulous presenters. We begin with Miss Alissa DeVito. She is going to share some great tips for passing the Google Level 1 certification exam. And then we'll be joined by this month's AOP Tech featured teacher, Miss Kim Hunter. She'll be sharing a free tool to help students learn coding. And finally, as a thank you to all those who joined us this school year on 4 of our past live webinars, Annabelle will be hosting a drawing for a free Chromebook giveaway at the end of tonight's webinar. As a reminder, tonight's presentation will be posted on our AOP Tech YouTube page found at youtube.com/AOPTech. If you're joining us there, please comment, like, and subscribe to our channel. It's now time for our first presenter of the evening, Miss Alissa DeVito. Alissa, how are you?
I'm well, Aaron. How are you?
Doing excellent.
Let me share my screen. All right. Do you see it?
Yes, we do. You're good to go.
Perfect. I always like to check. I get a little nervous on the handoff. I think we all do. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight, and especially thanks for joining us on a beautiful spring evening. Sometimes I know that it's hard to walk away from that spring sunshine when we have things like this. So I truly do appreciate it. And if you've been with us for this series, you've made it. We are at the end of our Google Bootcamp. I am so excited, and thank you for joining us, not just tonight, but all throughout the school year as we help to support you earning that awesome professional certification. So tonight, we are going to take a look at some really great things. You've got this. You have made it to the end. Hopefully, you've been doing some of the work that's along in the Google certification platform that lets you kind of go through the modules and helps you with practice questions. So maybe you've taken a peek or gone through a couple of those, especially maybe in some areas where you didn't feel as confident. And you've been using Google Apps at your school, and that is by far and away the very best way to prepare for the Google Level 1 exam is to just use the tools. So today we're going to talk about a couple of critical things to help you feel a little more confident when it comes to it. I know that anytime we talk about standardized testing, just like when we talk about Terra Novas or tests like that with our students, we try to equip them with the skills so they can feel confident and calm when it comes to test taking time. And those are two things that really help with any kind of standardized testing. So we're going to go through some test basics. We're going to look at some tips and tricks to help organize and manage yourself for that test. We're going to go through some practice questions that'll be similar to what you might encounter. And we're going to go through a practice scenario. If you remember all the way back in October, at the very first webinar of the school year, we talked about the certification process and we talked a little bit about the setup. So we warned you in advance, there's some practical scenarios, but tonight we want to make sure that you understand just how that works for you. So to start, let's talk about a couple test basics. This information is directly from Google's for Education site around the Level 1 exam. So there's a couple things that I want to highlight for you. You need to register for the exam at least 24 hours prior to which you take it. And you'll see that I've kind of highlighted that a couple times because this was a mistake I made the very first time I took the Google certification exams years ago. I registered for the test and assumed I could then take it in that immediate moment. And you can't. It's not instantaneous. It takes up to 24 hours, and for the most part, it's taken a good chunk of time before I've gotten my testing information. So it's something that I'm going to highlight because you might have to be setting that time aside or planning it wisely for when you know you have an afternoon without classes or you have someone to watch a little one at home. So on the website and later on in this presentation, which you will get a copy of, there'll be the direct link to register for the test. When you get there, you'll create a Criterion account, or if you already taken some exams, you're up for recertification, you can sign in with your previous ones. You choose whether you're taking the Level 1 or Level 2 exam, so know that the process is exactly the same as it for Level 2 when you're ready for it. You register for the exam with that Criterion account. The exam is $10 for Level 1, and you pay directly in that Criterion account. Now, I've added some arrows here on numbers 4, number 5, and number 6, because these are the pieces that you really have to keep a lookout for. So first, you're definitely going to want to add that admin address. It's admin@educert.org to your contacts. You're going to be invited to take that exam, and you're going to get essentially a test-taking account. You're not going to use your personal or your school Google account. And that information is going to come through the admin at my EduCert. So if you don't see it within that 24 hours, you're going to want to pop that address into the Omnibox of Gmail to search for it. You can check for spam, different things like that to make sure it didn't get caught somewhere. But it is an unusual account name there, and sometimes it does get flagged by Gmail. So you want to make sure that you pop that into your contacts. Be on the lookout for that email address to send you your sign-in credentials. So that'll give you all of your login information. It'll be a username and the password, and you can see the sample here, your Criterion ID at mydeucert.org. And that's what you're going to use to take the test. When you're ready, you select the test after it arrives to you, and you sign into the exam platform with the sign-in credentials that they sent to you. Remember that you're not using your personal account and you're not using your G Suite account, your school G Suite. So you have to use that one they provide you. It'll actually prompt you to sign out of all of your other accounts in Chrome. In terms of device requirements, it's always a good thing to double check before you go and sit down to the test that you have something that you can take the test on. So one, you'll need to use the latest version of the Chrome browser. You can check that by either putting into a Omnibox latest version of Chrome, and it'll prompt you. Or if you're on a laptop or a desktop, if you look up in the top right-hand corner of my Chrome browser, you'll see it has my picture that's associated with my account in the very top right. If I had an update to Chrome, I would see that circle, instead of being my picture, would have an up arrow. If I'm on a Chromebook, down in the bottom right-hand corner where the time is, I'll have an alert there that it needs to be updated. You're going to want to make sure that you do those in order to take the test. That's an easy thing to check in that 24-hour window while you're waiting. The other piece of what you'll need is a webcam. And that webcam that's on a Chromebook or on a laptop is perfectly sufficient for the test. If you're on a desktop that does not have an embedded one, you will need an external, but most of us probably have a Chromebook or a laptop that we can utilize to do that would have an integrated camera. And that's there because at the start of the test, you'll upload a photo of yourself. Then during the test taking time, a picture will automatically be captured of you at different intervals to ensure that it's you that's taking the test. And that's something that's on a part of the level 1, the level 2, and the trainer tests as well. Everything for Google there, all of them have that level. So in terms of devices, you're probably all set up and ready to go and maybe didn't even realize it. But most updated Chrome and webcam enabled. And another, you can pull that photo that you're gonna do of yourself. You can either upload or take in real time. You can have things like that on the ready. So as I said, a little bit of the trick in terms of getting yourself to the test is timing it properly. This is, as I said earlier, the part I totally messed up when I took my very first one years ago. I thought it was instantaneous. It is not, and it never has been, but in my head, I was ready, sat down at my desk, I was ready to take the test, let me register, and then I refreshed. Where is it? Well, where is it? Well, it takes within 24 hours. From that point that it gets delivered, you have 7 days to log in to that test. And then, so you have a window from delivery. So a good idea could be, if you know that you want to take it on Friday, registering Tuesday or Wednesday. That makes sure that you have a day to get it to you, and that you have it, you have it. You can reach out to Google if there is an issue, anything like that. So I personally find that registering for it 2 to 3 days before the day I want to take the exam helps to make sure that I'm ready, set, go for the moment that I'm intending to take it. You have 180 minutes to complete the exam once you start it. Know that you cannot pause it. You can't walk away from it. And I know that's a tricky thing. So you have to do it all in one continuous sitting. Plan on it taking the whole time. I know that even our team, we are all level 2 and Google Trainer, and we've been using these tools for years and years. We help you at your schools utilize these tools. Last time I took level 1, I think I was in the 158-minute range. So even super users, it takes a significant chunk of time. And that's because there's practical pieces to do on it. So you want to make sure that in whatever window of time you're intending to take it, you have 180 minutes set aside for it. This is not a 180-minute exam that you're going to finish in 25 minutes. So whether that's, finding a sitter to help with a little one, or having a significant other, a partner, take a kiddo somewhere else, or waiting till a certain day because you have back-to-back prep periods at school. Whatever the case may be sure to set that at a time, because you don't want that to be the reason that you feel anxious during the test. You want to make sure that you set yourself up to take all the time that you need. So what's in the exam? And I know we talked about some of this in October, but some folks are new and just joining us here, and we can talk about it a little bit more in depth. First section, you're going to get 20 objective questions, and they can be multiple choice, they can be drag and drop the order, they can be matching based on skill, or matching a project idea to the proper tool. So there's a lot of different options that you're going to kind of see in terms of multiple choice. In a moment, I'm going to show you what the format of it's going to look like, so that we have an idea of what the window for those multiple choice will look like. Because a big thing, pro tip, you're going to want to pay attention to if you need to choose more than one answer on a multiple choice. I had to go back and revise. My most recent time taking it, had to go back and revise my first 5 questions because all of a sudden I realized I only picked one option every time, and I suddenly remembered that was not how that worked. The second half of the test is practical scenarios. These are multi-steps, and you're going to have to manage several tabs open at once. So if lots of tabs being open is something that makes you a little bit nervous, or is not something that is part of your normal practice, I would definitely suggest making that something you practice in advance. I'm going to show you a tip a little bit later on, and it's a great trick for making sure tabs that you want to stay open, and kind of highlights them among the sea of tabs. I've gotten very used to professionally working with a million tabs open, but I know that's, for some folks, is not a comfort zone. So even those kind of things to practice in advance help set you up for success. You'll likely face 10 to 12 scenarios with up to 2 to 5 steps each. So I think the last time I took level 1, I had 12 scenarios, and most of them were 2, 3, and 4 steps. I know I've seen folks have 10, and they had more 3, 4, and maybe a 5 step in there. And what those steps look to do is just show that you know how to use a Google workflow. Oops, there we go. So this is what you might see at the very top when you're logged into the test and you're completing your objective questions. This is kind of the header information that you'll see. So 1, it'll tell you that it's a multiple choice question. And here's the important part. Please select 2. It might be please select 3. Please select 4. It might say matching. It might say drag and drop. So that's a great thing to look at. I kind of liken it to, for my folks who enjoy Jeopardy as much as I do, knowing your category. Knowing the category and the type of question sometimes is a helpful piece of answering it correctly. Making sure that you select the correct number that they're asking for is another. Also, all throughout the test, along the right-hand side, top right-hand, you'll see your question progress. You can see at this point, it was question 13 out of 20. It'll let you know. During the scenarios, it'll tell you what step that you're on. And also omnipresent throughout the exam is you'll see your time remaining. You'll get a little countdown clock to let you know how much time that you have left for the test. And it can be a helpful piece. I know that it also can be a little bit unnerving there, but all in all, it's good to know so that you're not questioning yourself along the way. Some tips specifically for the scenarios. 1, you're going to want to use the search feature in Drive. So if I'm in Drive, I'm going to flip to Drive here one moment. I have the search Drive bar up at the top. And then I can even refine my search with criteria. You're going to want to use that in the scenarios, because in Drive they'll have essentially test-taking documents, dummy documents that relate to the scenarios. And sometimes it's hard to see what the title is, or you're unsure of finding it, or maybe you feel like you've looked through a couple and that's not it, it's not matching the title. Copy and paste that title from the test and put it into the search bar in Drive to be able to find it quickly if you don't see it. If you need to ever put in a birthday, it doesn't come up often, and definitely doesn't come up often on level 1, but Google recommends this across the board. If you need to put in a birthday anywhere, it might tell you to open up Blogger, and then you'll have to add in a birthday. Make sure that it's something that's older than 13. And that's for Google's terms of service there. making sure that in that account, because it's not necessarily a specific EDU account tied to a school, you're going to want to make sure that the birthday that you put in there is older than 13. One of Google's other recommendations, if you get an error, like a 401 error that says you can't access something, give it 30 seconds, refresh the page, and if it's still not working, log back into the test within 2 minutes. I have taken level 1 several times. I've taken level 2 twice. I've taken trainer once, and I've never had that be an issue. So I hope that that's not an issue for you. But if you're thinking about where you're going to take a test, it also helps to be in somewhere where you know you have really strong, reliable internet connection to help minimize the likelihood of errors and Wi-Fi dropping and different things like that. So when you pass, growth mindset, when you pass, and you can start saying that to yourself right now. When I pass, your certification will be valid for 36 months. You'll receive an email certificate and badge that you can use put it in your email signature, print and put it in your classroom, put it in your portfolio, ask your principal to put it in your personnel file, all those great things. And you should be very proud of yourself for dedicating the time and the commitment into doing that. It's a great piece, a great tool to have in your toolkit. If level 1 doesn't go so well for you, you do have an opportunity to wait and retake that test over again. But I know that you're gonna pass because you've been working really hard on all of your Google skills throughout this year. When you get the follow-up email tomorrow, this is the link to register for the exam. It takes you to the level 1 page. And if you scroll down just a smidgen, you get a nice bar button there to register for the level 1 exam. Oops. So some tips and tricks. You're going to need to use keyboard shortcuts for things like copying and pasting. So again, something else that if that's not in your comfort zone right at the moment, you can practice heading into it so you feel a little more confident in doing that. So if you are on a C, you're going to want to use a Control C and a Control V. Control C for copy, Control V for paste. If you are on a MacBook, you're going to use Command C, Command V for that. Pro tip, and this one, I'm going to shout out, Aaron shared this tip with me, and it's genius. So thank you, Aaron, for sharing that with me and allowing me to share that with everyone here tonight. Anytime, especially in the practical scenarios, you might see somebody's email address. It'll say, share it with John Smith, jsmith @ and give you the email address. Copy and paste that email into where it's supposed to go to make sure it's going to the correct quote unquote person. Sometimes, and I did come across this in my own, I would put in the name, maybe I put Jane in, and there would be 3 different Janes. So you want to copy and paste it so that way it's absolutely going to the correct address, because that's part of how they're checking. Typically, those are the final steps of a scenario. Share this doc with, email John Smith the YouTube playlist. And if it doesn't get to that account, it's not going to necessarily mark it as completed. So you're going to want to use that to help you make sure that all of that hard work is getting to the right place. Oops. There we go. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite Google Chrome tips. So one of the things that I was talking about was that you can't walk away from the test. The other thing that you really have to be mindful of is not closing out of the test. There's an extremely limited window of time to re-enter if you click out of the test. So at all costs, you're not going to want to do that. And if you don't get back in the specified time, you're disqualified, and it counts as if you didn't pass the test. If that happens, you have to wait 14 days before you're eligible to retake the test. You do have to pay a second time. Second time, you have to wait the second time 60 days. I'm sorry. So if it happens a second time where you don't pass or you close out and are unable to get back in, it's a 60-day wait period. So first time, 14 days, second time, 60 days. So we don't want that to happen because, one, I know you have the skills to pass, and we don't want that to be what disqualifies you. So you can pin a tab. So if I go in Chrome, I've got my tab, I've got my April webinar tab here. That's what I'm in, this presentation. And I am going to right-click on that tab. And you can see by doing so, I get a lot of different options here. I can duplicate it, close all the other tabs, but I'm going to want to select Pin Tab. And it did two important things when I did that. First, it moved it all the way to the left of my browser. It's now the very first tab that I have. And that makes it easy for me to find. Second is that you can see I don't have a little X here. So if I went to this Google Drive folder, I have my little X that I can click and be like, whoops, that's not where I want it to go. But I'm going to need that for later. Let me open that back. So I don't want that to happen, but now this pinned tab does not have that X. So I'm going to unpin it by right-clicking and select unpin, and I'm just going to do that one more time. So I'm going to right-click on my tab. I'm going to select Pin Tab, and now it's condensed and I don't have that X. So that's a great tip. That's one of probably my most common tip to give to folks who are taking the exam. Dual monitors. And this is one of our other most common tips and an EdTech or AOP Tech team favorite when it comes to taking the Google exam. We are all big fans of using dual monitors in taking the exam. So what that means is you extend your monitor to have different accounts on different screens. What you'll have to use is an incognito mode for your personal account. And why I like that is because you might have notes and tools that you can search for alongside the test itself. I know that when I took level 2, I had very specific notes I wrote for myself about pivot tables. I was very worried, and it did come up on my scenario, so I had to do it. So I was really grateful to have my monitor extended so that way I didn't have to manage lots of windows on each screen. I just had my personal window up on one screen and the test take up on another screen, and I was able to kind of follow my personal notes that made sense to me. I'm going to show you a few setups, and I do want to encourage that if you're looking for information on your specific setup, what that might be like based on your device, reach out to our team. There are so many different laptops and setups and whatnot and out there that we can't necessarily cover and say, because you use a PC, this is what's going to work for you, but we'll help you find that answer. So when you connect your extra monitor to your laptop, and I'm going to presume for this case, just because of the ease of a webcam, that you might be using a laptop, you would connect an extra monitor, an external monitor, via HDMI or VGA. Depending upon the age of both of those devices, you might need an adapter. We can help you out there. Then when you go to settings, control panel settings, you're going to go to display, and you're going to make sure that you select multiple displays extend, and they'll show them side by side there. On a MacBook, which is what I use, connect your extra monitor to your laptop via HDMI or VGA using appropriate adapters as needed. Mine has an HDMI port, so that's what I would be using. I go to System Preferences and select Display. and then arrangement, and I drag the displays to sit side by side, and I want to make sure this mirror displays is unchecked. On a Chromebook, connect, you can see a little bit of a theme, connect the extra monitor to your laptop via HDMI or VGA, depending upon your settings there, or your ports available there. And then in settings, go to the display, and again, select extend desktop. If you don't have another display or that you can connect to, or that makes you a little bit nervous, you can use 2 separate computers. So this is my little guy in January. This was actually the January webinar. This is my webinar setup that I have every webinar. I have it right now in the exact same way. Please excuse my messy office. I'm sure some folks can relate to that out there as well. And he thinks that having 2 screens up is just the bee's knees there. So I tend to use, because at home, I don't have an external monitor. I do at my desk, in my office, but not at home. So I tend to just use 2 separate computers, one for the live webinar and one for my notes and email and other back end, especially if I'm somebody helping folks get in on the back end of the webinar. If this were the Google exam, I'd have the Google exam pulled up maybe on this computer here, and then my personal account and notes on my Pixel book there. So if the concept of dual monitors is like, wait, I'm not sure how I can connect that, I don't want to buy an adapter, and you can borrow an extra maybe Chromebook from school, or somebody else in your home has an extra laptop, set it up that way. It's a big help. I know I really like having the ability to search for something or take a couple extra clicks, look through my notes. I'm a note taker, so that makes me feel prepped and ready when I have that to go. So as I said, if you need help figuring out the connection for your specific device, setup, etc., just reach out to anybody on our team. We're happy to help you do that. It's really specific to each and every device, but we want to help get you there. So now we're up to some fun practice questions. These questions are going to represent different types of questions. After I ask the question, I'm just going to give about 30 seconds or so of think time. You'll hear some here about all of our new Google Level 1 certified teachers in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. So with that, I am going to hand things over to Kim Hunter to share with us the cool tool of the month, CodeCombat. Kim is the technology teacher for Notre Dame de Lourdes School for the past 21 years. She loves to spend summers at the pool with her son, Jack. You can follow her on Twitter at JacksMom8113. Kim, thank you for being here tonight. I'm so excited for you to talk about CodeCombat, and take it away.
Hi guys, this is Kim Hunter from Notre Dame de Lourdes School. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about CodeCombat. It's actually a tool I've been using for about 2 years. I started out using code.org with all of my classes. I teach pre-K through 8th, but I would use coding for 1st through 8th. I thought code.org was a little juvenile for the older kids, so I was looking for something new, and talked to my friend Jonathan, who was from the Uncommon Individual Foundation, and he gave me an idea of using CodeCombat, and I just took off with it. So a couple things you need to know about CodeCombat is it is a coding platform that uses real typed code. It gives you the option of using either Python or JavaScript. Now, when I first started in the beginning of last year doing this, I used JavaScript because I heard it was easier. I wasn't too familiar with either one of them, and I was learning along with doing this. However, this year I started taking a class on Python, so I moved over to Python this year. I can't say that one was easier than the other. It was just a choice that I made. The company, CodeCombat, recommends this for grades 4 and up. I, however, use it for 6th through 8th. I do think it's a little bit hard for 4th grade. Some of you might actually disagree with me, but I do like it for the junior high. So I just want to take you through my dashboard first. If you see, you can set up your classes, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You have course guides, student licenses, which I do not have because I use the free version, resource hub, and then Educator Facts. So right now I want to go over the course guidelines or course guides. The free version is this introduction to computer science. And I'm going to play it for you in a little bit so you can actually see what it looks like. But if you look down here, they have it has all of your concepts and solutions. It enables kids to create their own games and web design. And this is where you would choose whether you want to do Python or JavaScript. So let me just go up here to our resource hub. Okay, so our resource hub, this up here gives a lot of information. So the Educator Facts, I got a lot of my answers answered just through going to this tab. And then if you go down, it gives you a curriculum for each of your the computer science and each of the different parts. So this is the intro to computer science. And what I like about it is I love that it comes up with the key terms already. I do give vocabulary tests, and this is already done for me. It has the terms, it has the vocabulary, definitions, and anything you need to know. Now, a lot of the things I'm going to tell you come with a paid subscription. Like it does come up with rubrics too, except for you would have to pay in order to get that. Now, the other thing that I like is it does come with the Common Core standards already done for you. Okay. And then, so there's so much that you can do with it. Now let's go over here to the classes. Now you can set up a class very easily by just having your students set up their own account, and then you can put in your class code. So I'm going to go over here. This is my 8th grade class. So the students join with the code. You can keep track of their you have all your students here. Oh, before I even go on to the course project progress, I want to tell you that right here where you select your course. Now, first of all, again, it's only the intro that you get with your free subscription. But let's say that you had a paid subscription and one of your students was ready to go on. You can either assign a single person to go on, and then go down here and decide which one you want and then assign it. Or you can go up here and select them all, and then you can assign the class to the entire, or the course to the entire class. Okay, so the course progress is here. And this shows you exactly where your students are. as far as getting through the courses. At the end, you'll see over here, I'm trying to find somebody who is done, but here we go. So when they finish their course, you'll see over here that you can view their certificate, and you can print it out. I always print it out and put it on the outside wall so everybody can see that they completed the course. The other thing, and I wish I could really show it to you because it looks very cool, but it only comes with paid subscription, is the arena. So when the students are finished, they go into the arena and they can play each other, which sounds very cool. I know that when they finish, they are very disappointed that they can't move on to play that. They really look forward to doing that. But like I said, it comes with that in order to do it, and I do not have a paid subscription. The other thing that comes with a paid subscription is assessments. It does do some assessments to do with the students if you choose to do it. Now, the best thing I can say about this is free is always good. And this really goes with CodeCombat as well. They do, I do encourage you, if you want to contact them, they will set up a video chat with you. It's about an hour long. They'll go through everything with you. And it is very cool, the different things that you can do when you have the paid subscription. But free is always good, like I said. And coding, if you're in the same position as I am with my classes, coding is just a piece of what we teach in class. So we don't spend every day doing it. So just to give you an idea of how long it takes for them to complete this course, I would say it takes about the entire year. I give them a couple of class periods, a trimester to work on it. I would say half of them will finish it this year, and half of them would go on to another year to finish it. Once I finish this, just to let you know, with CodeCombat, I started this year with 6th grade, and then, well, actually, I started last year with 6th grade. When they moved up to 7th grade, they finished it up in the beginning of the year, and then I started with Replit, and that teaches students how to write programs. It's also another freebie that maybe next year I'll go through with you if you choose. But you actually have to write out each program. And then next year, when they're in 8th grade, they're going to start BSD, which is a platform that teaches written programming and web design. So let me just show you a little bit about how it works. Very quick. So I'm going to play the first level for you. This is very cool. They get to choose their hero, and work with the hero. So when they move on, if they move on to the next one, they can choose a different hero. They don't have to stay with it each time. I'm going to pick the girl. Okay, and I'm going to go over here and start. And if you notice, it looks very much like a lot of the games that they play, whereas Code.org looks still, you know, a little bit for the younger grades. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to type in here. They're already telling me that I'm hero move right. So I'm going to type in hero, and I'm going to put move down. And then I'm going to, hero has to move right again. So I'll put in hero move right. And then I'm going to click on run. And we have it. And success. And it's very good with being very positive with the positive feedback. And it gives you a lot of, if you do something wrong, it does give you some ideas how to fix it. Then you can go on to the next level, which I'll do for you real quick. Okay, then they already have her moving right. So we're going to have her move up and then move right. And I'm a person who likes to run it every once in a while just to see if I'm doing it correctly. Then I'll have her go back, move left, move down, and move down again. And I'm going to have her run. And again, there's different ways of getting it done. So some students choose to do it a different way, and sometimes different ways of getting it done. And see, we have success again. So I hope you liked the tool CodeCombat, and I hope you try it out. If you have any questions, feel free. You could always email me. I'm at technology@NotreDameDelords.net. So feel free to contact me at any time. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kim, for an awesome presentation. I know there are so many tools out there introducing students to coding, and this game-based platform looks like it's really engaging for the students. And again, it's always great to hear personal experiences, especially yours in the classroom. So thank you again. Thank you. We appreciate the time and effort you took in preparing and presenting tonight's tool. So now we've come to the part of the webinar that many of you have been waiting for, and that is the prize drawing. And as you may recall, when we launched this year's Google Bootcamp webinar series, we announced that we would be holding a prize drawing for a Chromebook. And as Aaron mentioned at the beginning of tonight's webinar, participants who attended at least 4 of the 6 webinars live would be entered into the drawing to win. So thank you to all of you who have participated throughout the year. We're appreciative of your participation and, as always, your high engagement in all of the webinars. So to select tonight's lucky winner, let me head on over. We are utilizing an auto name generator, which is wheelofnames.com. And this platform was developed by a Google Cloud developer. And if you have not used it before, it's a very cool tool. There are a few customizable features. In addition to adding names on the wheels, you can see you can insert images and symbols to the wheel slots. You can turn on sound effects on or off. You can customize the spin time and the winner announcement text. You can even import users from Google Sheets, and even if you're on a Twitter chat, you can import the Twitter username. So a lot of different features, very cool tool. And the wheels can be saved for use again and again. So if you upload your student class list, you can save it. Okay, so, and without further ado, the time has come to pick a winner. So I'm gonna do a couple shuffles of our wheel, and I'll go into full screen. And if I had my Vanna White, I would be going and spinning it over. And good luck to all the winners. Again, thank you for all your participation. And here we go. Let's go. Who will it be? Who will it be? Oh, it's stopping. Let's see. And it is Edith Kirk. Congratulations. We will be in touch. Thank you, Edith. And thank you again, all of you, for participating in our webinars. We will be in touch with Edith so that we can get that wonderful device to her. Thank you again, Alissa, for an awesome presentation filled with great practical test-taking tips, as well as to Ms. Kim Hunter for her time and effort in preparing and presenting tonight's cool tool, CodeCombat. While this is the final webinar for the school year, that does not mean that the Learning with AOP Tech comes to an end. We want to encourage you to always engage with us across all the various social media platforms. Follow us at AOP Tech. Make sure you check out our website, aoptech.org, and as well as our YouTube channel, where you can find a wealth of valuable resources to guide you in integrating technology in your classroom. You can also get news and updates and advance notice for all of our department offerings by joining our Remind group. We look forward to connecting with you online through the end of the school year. Please look for us after the end of the school year. If you're attending, whether it's the elementary or secondary summer tech academies, or even at the ISTE conference, look out for us. Our team will be attending and presenting at these events. We encourage you also to continue connecting with each other online to share your experiences and resources. There are so many great things happening across all of the Archdiocese schools, and social media is an awesome place to be able to connect with other educators throughout the 5 county areas. And make sure you use that AOP Tech hashtag. And finally, when you do pass that level 1 exam, make sure you let us know. Make sure you just shout it out and use that AOP hashtag on social media. We'll be looking out for it. Within the next day or two, you will receive a follow-up email containing the resources shared throughout the presentation tonight, a direct link to tonight's recorded session, which is housed on AOP Tech's YouTube channel, as well as a link to our feedback survey. And in a few weeks, we will be asking for your feedback on our overall webinar series initiative in preparation for the next school year. We want to make sure that we're meeting your needs through these learning opportunities. So we will be asking your feedback on everything from content to topics and to presenters. So we encourage you to complete our survey, and we greatly appreciate and welcome your open and honest feedback. So on behalf of Bill Brannick, Alissa DeVito, and Aaron Heinz, and the entire AOP Tech team, we want to thank everyone for a great year. Thank you for all of your engagement and interest in our webinar series this year. We look forward to being back with you again in the 2019 and 2020 school year. So enjoy the rest of your evening and have a wonderful rest of the week. Thank you, and good night, everyone.